Hello, and welcome back to the 8th installment of Reconciling Zero as we go in search of Effective Zen. The question we posed last episode was, what do we mean by the highest good? Recall that as part of our quest to answer the question, is this Zen Mountain? We identified Zen as a spiritual activity. We then introduced the notion of a manifested spirituality and defined it as the set of activities intended in the pursuit of the highest good. We also looked at the first part of this definition, deciding that there are many types of spiritual activities, that spirituality is never accidental, and that spirituality ceases when the pursuit of the highest good ceases. In short, we are now able to recognize and discuss the often obscure notion of spirituality, and that's a good thing. And so now we turn to the notions of the good and the highest good. Some of you may recognize these ideas as originating from the ancient Greeks, most notably from the time of Plato and Aristotle. Aristotle generally considered the good to be that which each thing aims at. For example, the good of a winter coat is to keep one warm, and the good of a daily walk may be better health. But what about this idea of the highest good? In his Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle argued that the highest good is that which exists for its own sake. Okay, so what the heck does that mean? To say that something exists for its own sake. Well, consider the classic picture of the falling dominoes. One domino knocks over the next, which knocks over the next and the next. But there has to be the last domino. There has to be the highest good. For example, shoelaces are needed in shoes. Shoes are needed to protect the feet. Feet are used for walking. Walking may be needed in one's job. A job may be needed to provide for one's family, and on and on and on. Eventually, we have to arrive at the last domino, the highest good, an activity that isn't in support of a higher good. Aristotle called this highest good eudaimonia, which often translates as happiness or flourishing or well-being. And that seems right. But here we might question if Aristotle's definition doesn't go far enough and perhaps doesn't consider an even bigger picture. That is, can we use this notion of the highest good to address something beyond happiness, something a bit more spiritual? Well, let's give it a go. Consider the case of religion. We can probably make a good argument for the following highest goods. For Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, there is the highest good of an eternal afterlife in heaven. For Hinduism, there is the highest good of union with Brahma. For Shinto, there's the highest good of something called magokoro, a pure, kind, and sincere heart. And so with this framework in place, we might give a definition of Christianity as the set of spiritual activities where the highest good is an eternal afterlife in heaven. We might define Hinduism as the set of spiritual activities where the highest good is union with Brahma. And we might define Shinto as the set of spiritual activities where the highest good is magokoro. And so now, with our understanding of activity, spirituality, and now this notion of the highest good, we are ready to turn our attention to Buddhism. So for next week, the question is, what is Buddhism? And until next week, cheers!